What's up, y'all? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I hope everybody is having a beautiful Monday. We are on day 5 of the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. I am Coach Jamila. I'm a manifestation and mindset coach. I help women in business to transform their minds using spiritual principles and practices that help them to increase their internal value so they can maximize and increase their external value. I help you unfuck your mind so you can clear the clutter and replace it with those things that are going to help you be successful in your personal and your business life, and going to help you do exactly what you were called and created to do. Okay. So we are in chapter 2 now of the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. If you are just joining us and have not been in this series, the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity is a book written, I think the book was actually written in the 1960s by a woman named Catherine Ponder. She went around the country teaching on how to, teaching during a time of economic turmoil, how to literally use your words as a means to increase your wealth and abundance. Okay. And today we are in chapter 2, and chapter 2 is starting off with the basic law of prosperity. So, welcome in, everyone. If you have missed the other, we're on day 5. If you missed the first 4 days, the first day, day 1, was uploaded to my YouTube channel on today. And the rest of the days will be uploaded later on in the week. Okay, so you can catch those replays on my YouTube channel. And I do believe my YouTube channel is linked in my bio. I forgot to check it last night, but I'll check it when we get off here. Okay, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and get right in. I know I'm a little bit late. So we're going to dive into today. And today, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the question of the day. The question of the day is, no, I'm not gonna give you the question of the day, because if I give it to you right now, you ain't gonna get it. So let's go ahead and get into chapter 2, the basic law of prosperity. It says that I learned the basic law of prosperity the hard way. I have been earning the right to tell you all about it for a long time. Several decades ago, life looked hopeless for me. Widowed and with an infant son, I had no training for any type of work and therefore no means of income. My family during that period was not able to offer much financial assistance. If you could have seen me then, you would doubtless have said, prosperous thinking or no prosperous thinking, there goes a hopeless case. It was during this miserable period that I learned about the power of our thinking as an instrument for success or failure. It says, it soon became plain to me that my previous failures were due largely to my previous failure thinking. It says, but the same power of thought, when rightly directed, could be the key to healthy, happy, successful living. What a realization it was on the day I read the words of Solomon. As a man thinketh within himself, so is he. And that's from Proverbs 23:7. And later, the words of Job. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and lights shall shine upon the way. From Job 22:28. And then from the philosopher James Allen, I learned, listen to this, y'all. It says, through his thoughts, man holds the key to every situation and contains within himself that transforming and regenerative agency by which he may make himself what he wills. So just by our thoughts hold the key to everything we need, okay? It says, I then excitedly surmised that my potential wealth, health, and happiness were actually within me, waiting to be radiated outward into my world as healthy, wealthy, happy thoughts, feelings, expectations, and decrees, which in turn would attract like results into my life. So she was saying everything I needed to be happy, healthy, wealthy, joyful, all of that was already in me. The problem was she just had not realized it yet. Okay. It says, as soon as I grasped this simple but all powerful success secret and began applying it, the tide changed and my ships began to come in. The way soon opened for me to literally work my way through business school. I then became secretary to a young lawyer who became mayor of our town, a candidate for Congress, and who later expanded his law firm to include several attorneys and secretaries who served a number of prosperous clients. At the height of my work with this attorney, I felt led to go into ministry so that I might help others to realize and apply the spiritual and mental keys to healthy, happy, prosperous living that had meant so much to me. Upon thinking back, I now realize that consciously and unconsciously, I invoke the basic prosperity law of radiation and attraction. Y'all, what do we call this? Today we call this the law of attraction, right? She calls it the basic prosperity law of radiation and attraction every step of the way. It is because of my own personal use of this basic law that I feel so strongly about it and emphatically believe that it can work for you in even greater ways than it has for me. A number of people who have attended my prosperity lectures have used it with astounding success. And so before we keep going, I'm going to go into my first point. My first point that I want you to write down, remember, whatever you're going to do with it, our thoughts hold the key to our destiny. Our thoughts hold the key to our destiny. What we think, we become. By aligning our thoughts with the true desires of our hearts, we can shift our life in a new direction. So I told y'all that before. We have to first be honest with ourselves, with the universe, with God, with ourselves, right? We have to be honest about what it is that we want. We cannot be humble and be like, no, I'm just good with what I have. I just want to work forever and do all. No, be honest about the life you want to live. Be honest about how much money you want to make. Be honest about what you want to do, right? Do you want to travel? Do you want to, start a business? Do you want to start a nonprofit? Like, what is it that you want to do? You have to be honest about that. And then align your thoughts and actions with that desire because our thoughts hold the keys to our destiny. When we have conflicts in our thinking, when we think we can't do something, when we desire something but don't hold a belief that we can actually have that thing, that's a conflict within our thinking, and it's misalignment. It does not get us to where we're trying to go. So we have got to be grounded in the desires that we hold in our heart. We have to be grounded, right? Going back to day one and day two, we have to be grounded in what the word, what God, what the universe says about us. And then we have to align our thoughts with those things so that we can be in a place of creating our desires from a place of knowing that we deserve it, from a place of knowing that we've been created to have it, from a place of knowing that it is ours because we serve a God who has unlimited resources that he has designed specifically to give to us, right? God created this universe for us to do with as we please. He gave us an entire playground, and it's only because of our thinking, our failure thinking, our thinking on a level of, we're going to play it small. That's the reason we stay stuck. That's the reason we stay in mediocrity and a level of poverty because we are not grounded in the belief and the understanding that God wants us to live a life of abundance, and abundance does not include lack in any way. Okay, so we're going to keep going. It says, the law of laws. Truly, the laws that govern prosperity are just as sure and workable as the laws that govern mathematics, music, physics, and other sciences. The Bible describes the basic law of prosperity when it speaks of sowing and reaping, or giving and receiving. The scientists describe it as action and reaction. The Okay, by some, it has been termed the law of supply and demand. Emerson described it as the law of compensation. I did a video about that. Y'all, the law of compensation, what you give, you always receive, whereby like attracts like. He declared that the law of compensation is the law of laws. You cannot get something for nothing. Y'all, we listen to this one. This is the title. You cannot get something for nothing. It says, I agree with Emerson that it is time the law of compensation was emphasized as life's basic law. I like to think of this basic law of prosperity as radiation and attraction. There it go again, y'all. That what you radiate outward in your thoughts, feelings, mental pictures, and words, you attract into your life and affairs. But you cannot get something for nothing. The reason why there is still poverty in this universe of lavish abundance is that many people still do not understand this basic law of life. They do not yet realize that they must radiate in order to attract, and that what they do radiate, they constantly attract. So if we're radiating unhappiness, if we're radiating sadness, if we're radiating a level of, you know, I'm gonna always have to work and hustle, and if we're radiating all of this negative low vibrational thoughts, those are the things we get back. I told y'all yesterday, and that was just a repeat of what I said the other day. Our thoughts and our words are, well, our words are like prophecies that we send out into the universe and say, this is what I want. So if our words are constantly speaking negative, if our words are constantly speaking doubt, if we're constantly speaking lack and poverty, frustration, anger, all of those things, we're telling the universe, this is what I want. This is how I like to feel. This is what I like in my world. And that's why we continuously get that back. So we must radiate in order to attract. And she's saying the same thing in the 1960s that we're saying in the 2000s, right? This whole law of attraction. It says, most people today still have to learn that they cannot get something for nothing, but must give before receiving, or must sow before reaping. Y'all done heard that before. There's a time for sowing and there's a time for reaping, right? When they do not give or sow in terms of prosperity, they make no contact with God's lavish abundance. And so there is no channel formed through which the rich, unlimited substance of the universe can pour forth its riches to them. Listen, y'all, we have to give in some level. Sometimes we don't have money to give, so we give time. Sometimes we don't have money to give, so we give resources. Sometimes we don't have money or time or resources to give, so we figure out other things that we can give, right? But the universe is a constant cycle of giving and receiving, giving and receiving. So when we can get into a joyful giving, right? When we can get into an understanding that there is always more for me, so I don't have to hold on to this thing, right? I don't have to hold on to my last little $10. Maybe I need it for something, but can I give $1 away? Can I give a quarter away? If I don't have any money to give away, can I give you the sandwich that I don't want? Can I look in my refrigerator and hand you something? Right? What can I give? We cannot just hold on to things and hold on to things and not want to let anything go because we don't open our hands to receive, right? We cannot keep hold of everything because as we're trying to hold on to something, God is trying to put something else in our hands and we don't have any room to receive it. So we have to understand that the universe is a constant cycle of giving and receiving. And in order for us to get in that flow of receiving, we must get in the flow of giving. Okay. It says the truth of this was recently brought to my attention when I had contact with some people in a poverty stricken area. I soon discovered that these people only wanted a handout. They were not interested in invoking the basic law of prosperity by giving or sowing first. Instead, they were trying to get something for nothing, which simply cannot be done. Thus, they continue to live in poverty. Listen, try to go in the store and get something for nothing, right? Try to go somewhere, try to buy someone for something, try to buy something from someone for nothing. And let me know how that works out for you. We cannot get something for nothing. There's always an exchange taking place, okay? So when we understand that and when we get into the flow of that exchange and understand that this exchange is constant, things just begin to flow into our life, okay? You can always give something, all right? It says, perhaps you are thinking, what could such a person give when he seems so in lack? There is always something a person can give, either tangibly or intangibly, that will put him in touch with God's rich supply. A widow with a house full of children once telephoned a counselor. She had no money or food for her children. It was lunchtime and her children had not eaten since the day before. She was desperate. The counselor who took the call knew well what it was like to find oneself in such a predicament. The power of prosperous thinking had literally supplied manna from heaven. We talked about y'all at a financially desperate period in her own life. With great compassion, she explained the magic power of giving in some way, which would start the substance flowing back in appropriate form. It says, of course, when she explained to the widow that she must give in order to receive, the widow's first reaction, like everybody normally, right, was much the same that yours or mine must be the first time we were told we must give to receive. It says she lamented, but that's just it. I have nothing to give. To which the counselor gently replied, my dear, of course you have something to give. We always have something to give. Indeed, we always have more to give than we even realize at first. She then urged the frantic widow to look about her and to ask for divine guidance concerning what she could give. It says the widow was assured that this counselor would be praying with her in faith and that she would be divinely led as to how to give and how to receive thereafter. The counselor also told her that after starting the flow of substance by giving, she was then to get ready to receive by preparing her table for the meal she so wished for her children. It says, and by preparing her grocery list with which to shop in the assurance that the money would manifest very soon for her groceries. In faith, the widow sat down and prayerfully asked what she had that she could give. Suddenly, she remembered flowers growing in her garden, which she happily cut and gave to a sick neighbor who was overjoyed to receive them. Next, she set her table with the best china, silver, and linens in the house. This caused pleasure and excitement among her children, who then expectantly awaited a good meal. Just as she was completing her grocery list, someone who had been owing her money for a long time dropped by and paid her $30 on her debt. $30, which she had long since giving up ever getting back. If I could shout only one message to a whole world regarding life secrets, it would be this: you cannot get something for nothing, but you can have the best of everything when you give full measure for the good you wish to receive. Since I have been writing about prosperity, I have received a number of letters from people who do not yet understand this law and who are still trying to get something for nothing. One woman asked that $30,000, this is in the 1960s, y'all, be sent to her immediately to pay off old debts. She didn't write once or twice, but three times before she was convinced she must use this basic law of prosperity and bring in her own supply. Listen, y'all. Let me go to my second point here before we keep moving. It says, whatever you want more of in your life, you must be willing to give part of what you have away. And I forgot where I heard this. I forgot who I got this from. But whatever we want more of, we have to give away. If you want more money, give more away. If you want more time, give more away. If you want more resources, give more away. Whatever you want in life, you must give, right? We get into a flow of giving and receiving. So I wanted to share my one of my own examples with you, just for this. Recently, if y'all have been following me, you know I moved earlier this year, right? I was in a different space, and some things were going on in this building, in this community, and it was just time for me to move. My lease was up. It was like, we got to go. And so I had only so much time to move, right? And I looked at a bunch of places. Some of them were nice, some of them were, you know, within my price range. Some of them were nice and within my price range, a bunch of stuff. And I couldn't find anything that I had applied for and actually received. And I remember I was in prayer, like, God, my time is limited, right? The clock is ticking. I gotta get somewhere. And I remember God telling me, you need to get ready, right? He said, you need to get ready because I know I have to move. I'm mentally preparing myself to move. I'm going out, I'm looking at places, I'm doing all of the things, but I hadn't even packed yet. I had all of these boxes and I had not even started packing yet, even though I knew I had to move, even though I was doing all of the other things, I had not started preparing to move. So when I heard God said that, I literally started in the kitchen. I was like, okay, I have sets and sets of glasses and plate dishes and all of these things. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start in the kitchen. We're going to pack some things up and we are going to prepare for what we are praying for. And so I started packing. I started packing the kitchen. I started packing the clothes up, my clothes up, the kids' clothes up. We were in spring. So I started packing, the winter clothes up. I started getting prepared. And no sooner than I started getting prepared, within a couple weeks, I um, saw for the second time, and I'll tell y'all that story another day because I'm not trying to get off on too far of a tangent. But for the second time, I saw this house. I went and saw it again, and put a application in, put down, the little application fee and all of this. And within just a couple of days, they emailed me and said that the not the apartment, it's a house, that the house was mine. And I was like, amen, Jesus. And I say all that to say, listen, we have to prepare, right? We not only have to sow, we not only have to pray, we have to prepare for the things that we are asking for. And part of that is getting grounded in our belief and in our understanding that God will use anyone to bless us and that we deserve it. I talked to y'all yesterday. We were talking about how, our parents can give us whatever they want to give us, right? We're not limited to, you know, maybe they're, I don't know how they're mad at us today, so they're not going to give us anything. Or, we don't have, our parents don't put these limitations and say, oh, you didn't clean your room, so I'm not going to feed you today, right? You didn't clean your room, so I'm not going to give you a birthday present. As parents, sometimes we might, say certain things, but we give our kids things joyfully, right? We like seeing, if you celebrate Christmas, we like seeing their faces light up on Christmas when they get certain things they didn't expect to get, right? And so God is our heavenly Father, right? So do we not believe, can we not get to a place of belief that my Father wants to bless me in ways I can't even imagine? When we get grounded in that thought process and in that belief, everything else can kind of flows, right? We don't get worried about what we don't think we can have, or how unworthy we might feel, or we don't get those thoughts of unworthiness, right? As much, because we know who our Heavenly Father is. We know who our parent is. We know the God that we are serving is a God that wants to bless us, a God that wants to give us things. But we first have to get into the flow, right? We first have to get into a space where we say, you know what? God, I serve a God of abundance. So if there is something little I can give, if I can give an hour of my time, as the lady said, if I can give some flowers away to my neighbor, if I can give something that I have away, and just understand that whatever I give is going to come back to me, we can give joyfully and with a level of expectation. They say that, don't give anything that you can't afford to lose, right? So if I only have $20, right, but I only really need 15 to do what I need to do, what's wrong with me giving the other five away? Because you never know how that $5 may come back to you. Because the word says it's going to come back to you pressed down, shaken, and all of that, right? It's going to come back to you multiplied, magnified, right? So if I can give not with a level of, oh, I'm gonna give you this five because I know I'm gonna get such and such back, but give joyfully and with a level of expectation that I don't know when I'm gonna get this back. I don't know how I'm gonna get this back, because you may give back money and get back a resource. You may get back money and get back something else. It's not always going to be the same exchange, but the exchange will still be magnified. The exchange will still be valuable, right? And whatever that is, we must get into the flow of giving and receiving. We must get into the flow of, I don't have to hold on tight to everything that I have, because some things are meant to let go of. Some things are meant for me to give away. Some things are meant for me to pass along, right? Some things are meant for me to let go of so that I can open my hands to receive the next thing that is for me. We cannot get so focused on holding things so tight that we don't have the ability to stretch out our hands and get what God is trying to give us in our new season, right? Okay. So, number two, whatever you want more of in your life, you must be willing to give part of what you have away. More time, give more away, right? More money, give more away. You shall reap those things that you sow. If you sow nothing, you reap nothing. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Oh, nope. Y'all, that was our last little paragraph here. So tomorrow we're gonna pick up on radiate and you will attract. Okay. I'm sorry. So let's go ahead and get to our third point. I did not realize we were already at the end of the reading. So, third point number three, y'all, we going to wrap this up. I'm not even at an hour yet. Y'all, sometimes I go off on my little tangents and we be on here for a while. But I want to go ahead and get y'all this goodness and let y'all get back to y'all day, okay? So it says number three, there is always something for you to give. Giving creates a flow of energy for you to receive. What you sow, you will reap. Give freely and with a sense of satisfaction, understanding that what you give will come back to you multiplied. Okay. Give with joy and love. All right. So that was our point number three. And then the question of the day. I told you I didn't want to give you the question of the day at the beginning because I didn't want you to not pick up on it. But the question of the day is, how can I become a joyful giver? How can I become a joyful giver, right? Give with a sense of joy and love. Give with an expectation that you are giving something away that someone else needs, but expect that at some point, whatever you need, whatever you desire, whatever God wants to bless you with will come back to you multiplied, okay? So ask yourself, how can I become a joyful giver? Because being a joyful giver opens up the door, it opens up the floodgates for God to bless you. It opens up your hands as you're giving. It allows God to place something within your hands. Okay. So, how can I become a joyful giver? All right. And so, just to recap our day 5, number 1, our point was our thoughts hold the key to our destiny. So, what are you thinking? Are your thoughts aligned with the desires of your heart? Are your thoughts aligned with where you want to take yourself in 2024? Have you aligned your thoughts? Have you aligned your heart? Have you aligned yourself with what it is you want to do in 2024, right? By aligning our thoughts with the true desires of our hearts, we can shift our life in a new direction. When we understand that, things begin to shift, okay? Whatever you want more, point number 2, whatever you want more of in your life, you must be willing to give part of what you have away, okay? Become a joyful giver. And number 3, there is always something for you to give. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up with my favorite story, y'all, from the Bible. I talk about this woman all the time. Okay, she is my favorite, absolute favorite person in the Bible, and she only my favorite story, y'all, from the Bible. I talk about this woman all the time. Okay, she is my favorite, absolute favorite person in the Bible, and she don't even have oil, right? If y'all are familiar with the story, the woman with the oil, she owed some creditors. She was like, she went to the prophet. She said, listen, these creditors are trying to take my children. I need you, I need something to happen because they're coming for my kids, right? And the prophet said, listen, what do you have, right? He said, what do you have? And she said, I have nothing. We have to understand we always have something. Wait a minute. Let's run that back. She said, I have nothing but some oil, right? After the but, there is always something. We believe we have nothing. We might believe we don't have what we need. We might believe we don't have a lot, right? But there is always something that we do have. There is always something that we have that God can use to get us what we need. There is always something that we have that we can use to get what we need. So understand that there is always something for you. Even in our story, the woman said, I don't know what I have. And the counselor said, listen, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray with you. I want you to sit down and pray and ask God what it is that you have to give away. Because even if it is something small, right? And we don't have to give to the same person we have an expectation of receiving for, because this woman gave flowers to her neighbor, not even knowing that the person that owed her money, she had long forgot about that person that owed her money, not even knowing or thinking that this person was going to randomly stop by and bless her with some money, right? So we have got to get into a space of understanding that there is always something for us to give away. What I started doing, if you have kids and you like me, I got 3, they grow up real fast and they grow out of stuff, right? For a long time, especially when all 3 of them were growing real fast, right? My oldest is 19, so he's in college and, he got a job, he can buy some of his own stuff, right? But I used to always take my kids' clothes to like Once Upon a Child and stuff, and, I would resell them. Well, at a certain point, I decided, you know what? This little $20 they giving me for this stuff, sometimes, right, I took it when I really needed it, right? And sometimes I got some good money for it because I had saved up some stuff, right? But I had gotten to the understanding that I wanted to give those things away because there may be someone that really needs what my kids may have used, right, at a point in time. So I stopped selling them and I just literally started giving them away. And even when I probably could have used that little $20 or whatever, I wanted to be a joyful giver. I wanted to give these things away. That was something, and it's still something that I collect. When we're cleaning out closets, when we're doing the changing of the seasons and stuff, I make sure I get all the kids' clothes that no longer fit, even my clothes and stuff that I no longer want, and I get it all together, and I go take it to the local pantry or wherever I know that they're going to give it away. Now, sometimes I might give it to Goodwill, and Goodwill, they sell it for cheap, right? It's still affordable, but I want to give it to someone that I know is not going to sell it, that they are going to literally give it away to those people that need it. So when you can find something in your life that you can joyfully give away, it's going to open up the flow of sowing and reaping within your life. It's going to open up that flow of abundance because you are giving with an understanding that I no longer need these things. Someone else may need them, but I know and believe that I serve a God, I serve a universe that is full of abundance. So as I'm giving this away, I am opening up the door for me to receive. I am opening up the door for my blessings to come in, right? I am blessing someone else, and I know that I will be blessed in abundance for being a blessing to someone else. So that is our day 5. We talked about giving in order to receive. We talked about our thoughts being the key to our destiny. So go ahead and take those points with you. If you missed any part of this live stream, it will be on my YouTube channel probably by, today is Monday, it should be on there by Friday. So we are on day 5. Day 6 is either going to be tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm not sure. I know I have a few things to get done tomorrow. So if we are not on tomorrow, we'll definitely be on Wednesday, y'all. I thank y'all so much for joining me. Listen, y'all, we have got to start shifting the way that we think. We have got to start shifting the way that we speak in order to start manifesting the things that we want in our lives. Okay. And so that's why our words and our thoughts are so important, because our words, our thoughts influence our words, which influence our actions, which manifest what we see in our lives. Okay. So I thank y'all for joining me. I will see y'all on day 6. Y'all have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.